talking about them. Hello, skeleton. This is not the skeleton that's special. Just a handful of regular skellies. 2 warriors, 2 archers. They're an invincible undead unit. That's not true. They're extremely vulnerable. Not as vulnerable as they used to be, but they're extremely vulnerable. Skeletons in the OG game have a weakness to physical weapons. I'm pretty sure smashing weapons in particular will do massive damage to them, and you can usually tear these units down with no trouble at all just by hitting them. But since I adjusted all of their resistances, that is no longer the case for them. So they're a tiny bit hardier than they were. But as we saw so far, that doesn't really matter. We're just too strong, is what I'm trying to say. Okay. He's already got the chain going. I'm gonna hit this guy, so he can't cast Cheat Death. There you go, cast in Spirit Shield. It doesn't even make a noise when you do it, it's so strange. I'm gonna cast Light. Yeah. It's a little early in the morning. That's why my Aura of Wrath failed. Oh, that skeleton archer swapped weapons. Now we get to see what his offhand weapon is. If you can, it's so, like, dark and dreary here.
Can you see it? Can you see the sword in his little hand? No? Not really? Well, I tried. I can't help you. Yeah, maybe I can run Rita closer and she can see it. See it glowing there? There it is! That's Trahern's sword, believe it or not, which is now the Enchanted Blade. I made it their offhand weapon so that they could, once again, override physical resistance. But you only see it whenever you get close enough to corner them, so it's kind of not that prominent. Which is unfortunate. I don't know why I'm not killing any of these guys, I'm just softening them all up. Maybe I just want to prove a point. Anyway. On the one hand, I would like to give the Enchanted Blade to something else that just uses it by default. But it's just not in the cards right now. With the number of enemies there are that can feasibly wield weapons, they're pretty much just all taken up. I put in very few overlaps. There's just not enough room in the database for everything. But someday that might change. I don't know exactly what all goes into this modding business, but if they can add new enemies to Paper Mario, chances are that we can add new enemies to Aidyn. And I was giving it some thought the other day too, like what kind of things I would like to see. There are a number of monsters that don't really have upgrade versions of themselves, but still show up way late into the game, like Cyclopses, Manticores, Harpies, Gorgons. These are all things that could definitely use a second variant that's stronger, statistics-wise. And there are also many enemies like the Ogres, whose upgrade variants are an utter waste. Just, they haven't been put to good use the way they are. So, should the opportunity ever present itself, I definitely want to expand on the enemy numbers, and that will give us more opportunities to put unique weapons in the hands of things and whatnot. Where's the thing I'm looking for? I know it's out here somewhere. There's like a Cyclops guarding it. Oh god. I gave my laptop a little yank there because I was rubbing the back of my neck and it snagged on my headphone cord. Where is it? There's a sack. There's a sack with a bomb and a Cyclops. I'm telling you. Why does this game insist on not having the things I say are there? It just likes to make me look crazy and waste everyone's time, doesn't it? Maybe it was a little further out. Maybe a little further out. I don't know. I don't know. Leaning toward nah.
Leaning toward, screw it. I don't need one sack and one more group of Cyclopses under my belt. We're just gonna go. We're gonna giggity go. Riggity roll. We're gonna make it to the rivers and we're gonna start exploring the segments of the swamp. On down here. Over this way. I'm keeping a sharp ear out for other monsters walking around. But do you see how confusing this swamp is? How everything looks the same? Like, there's all the same terrain. And, oh, see, here he is. I needed to go further in after all. There's all the same terrain, all the same trees, all the same details. There's very, very few landmarks to work with here. These guys are solar. I can't scare them. I can hurt them, though. I'm gonna cast Light instead. Light's always good to cast. Unless there's enemies that are going to just cancel it immediately. That's the only time it's not good to cast Light. And that's just when it's pointless. Okay, you stinkers. How about you just leave? We'll pretend we didn't see you, and you can go. But yeah, could you imagine if there was a late-game version of Cyclops that didn't completely suck ass? I would want to come up with different names for them. And that might be a little tricky, because I wouldn't want to just be super lame about it and be like, Large Cyclops, or Giant Cyclops. I feel like there's enough versatility in mythology to get away with some things that would be kind of a stretch. Like, although Gorgons are very distinct for having, like, snakes for their hair, you could get away with calling them a Lamia, or a Naga, I think. And then there's, like, Griffins, which are close enough to hippogriffs that I wouldn't really complain. Hippogriffs have the distinction of their hindquarters being that of horses rather than avian. But the existing griffins in this game are still basically 75% hippogriffs, so that's one. And I feel like you could call an upgraded Cyclops a Titan, and that would be fine. You could maybe make a smaller variant of the trolls and call it a gremlin. Another plus that adding more enemies would have is that you could increase the variety of enemies in various areas. And that would be really nice too, because then you could have more varied combat, which is always a good thing. Instead of having a dozen of the same fight, you could really mix them up. And possibly push the levels higher too. Like, I think I said in a previous video that the way I adjusted the levels in this game was that there are 99 monsters in the database. So I put 3 of them on every level. 3 on 1, 3 on 2. The toughest 3 monsters are level 33. But max level is 40. So, keeping with that mindset, you could theoretically have 120 monsters with 3 of them being on 40. Which, yeah, would be interesting. And I honestly think that the heroes would still be able to keep up with them, even if they didn't get to level 40 themselves. Because you can get pretty darn powerful in this game, and level stops meaning something after a while. It wouldn't really hurt things, I don't think, for the end game to become more of an uphill battle, since right now it's more of a plateau. It's like, you spent the whole game climbing the mountain, and once you get there, yeah, you can see the world around you, and there's nothing left. But whatever. Speaking of levels, I took a peek at mine before this session, and saw that I'm right about the same level I would be normally when I get to the swamp. Like, usually I get here and Aileron is 20, and he should still be 20 right now, I do believe. Yeah, he's... well, that's Rada, or Brenna. But yes, he's 20. And by the time we get to the tower, he would be about 22. So even though I rebalanced how much the enemies are worth in terms of experience, it seems it has not meaningfully impacted anything yet. It might start to matter more now that we're in the endgame, and there will be larger numbers of more valuable targets to fight. But for the time being, it has balanced out about the same. And I don't know how I feel about that. Can it really be called an improvement if it's just a lateral shift? But that's not a big deal. It's not important. People who want more experience can always just go behind the school of Tailwalk. Here's an enemy I thought could definitely use an upgrade. Imagine having Chaos Raiders, a larger version of these guys. I could give the smaller ones back their spikes, and then the big ones could have the Chaos Thorns. Then that item would truly be unavailable until late game like it should be. And under those circumstances, I might be able to make it less rare. But that would also let us buff their dexterity spell, so that would be more useful to other Chaos minions. And speaking of other Chaos minions, I already went over how Chaos Warriors could definitely use a second variant. I would totally be down to have a Chaos Knight wielding a Chaos Sword. And just imagine how scary they would be if they were bigger. Probably not that scary. I've never really been that fond of the Chaos Warriors enemy design. It's easily the most boring of the Chaos foes. But I still respect them. Yep. There's so much potential. So much untapped potential. Pardon me. I had a burp inside me. That guy's fleeing. I don't see any reason to pursue. Meanwhile, this guy's over here with full health. Maybe he'll freeze. Freeze, Scout! No, he didn't freeze. His buddy's gone, though. Who wants him? Brenna did it. We got 2 maps to Chaos Isle. Even though we can never return. Well, I'm just gonna follow this natural wall for a little bit. You can actually get up on that ledge. The entrance to it is nearby the zombie pit we stumbled down earlier. And it's a really convenient way to reach the tower. Like, there's some encounters up there that you can't really avoid too easily, but... Oh man, that's a letter. But... Sorry, I completely lost my train of thought because there were so many lizardmen. Yeah, you can take that ridge, and there's a few fights you can fight along the way. You can probably get through the swamp fighting fewer of them, but having a direct shot to Shamsik's tower that's easy to follow is really nice. It's also a good way of getting out of the swamp without getting lost or worrying about that kind of thing. Oh, look at these dudes. I think I'd better throw a fireball their way just to encourage them to continue leaving. Can I get all 4, or did that one guy get too far away? Where is the 4th guy? There he is. He charged forward. Well, whatever. I'm gonna blow up these ones. These 3. Yeah, you. Big damage. This damage is not as big as it would be. Since these guys are draconic enemies, they are now resistant to all elements and weak to physical attacks, which none of my weapons currently deal. So you can't just go in with Neeson and nuke them all to death like you used to. They kind of needed that, though. They were really easy to just blow up before. Still pushovers for my party. Because I'm actively breaking the game. Well, guy, it looks like it's just you. All your friends are leaving or have already left. Liking the number of sergeants that are out here, though. Because that's more chances to get dragon fangs. Lizardmen are another enemy that could use a late game variant and an early game variant. It'd be a little questionable of where to put them because they're right at home in the swamp. You could probably justify them living on Chaos Isle in certain places. Although, I don't know why they would ever get along with the Chaos Monsters. I mean, clearly the Chaos Monsters don't value their lives. They have them set up as, like, decorations and stuff. I don't know why I ran these over here. Hello, newcomers. Please flee. But yeah, there are more than enough enemies that don't have additional variants that, even without any new, like, models or whatever, we could expand the enemy roster to 120. No problem. We could even make some of them into, like, unique bosses, perhaps. Like, if there was a giant version of the ogre boss, he could be, like, a one-off villain. I think that would be cool. He'd just be like a mountain of health with a bunch of ogre minions. And of course, he would be a better wizard than the regular ogre bosses. Even though some would argue that ogres have no business being wizards in the first place. But I say nay. I say they're too boring as just move and hit enemies. They need something more. They deserve something more. This whole game deserves something more. I don't know if that guy froze or not. There's kind of a lot of lizardmen waiting behind him, so I'm just gonna get rid of him even if he's frozen. You need to go down, guy. You need to go down to the ground to get out of the rain. Ow, hey. That's uncalled for. Have you know, we were just passing through, minding our own business, when all y'all's bum rushed us. I don't want to cast Aura of Death again. I want to finish this guy. Goodbye. Hey, it's Neeson's turn. Aileron's looking a little hurt. There you go, Aileron. Feel better. Oh gosh, Jackson. Run up here and stab you in the back with the Chaos Thorn. Boink. Let's see. What other enemies did I think could use additional variants? Well, I guess while we're still in the vicinity of the Lizardmen, I could say obvious upgrades would be Lizardman Warrior and Lizardman Lieutenant. I don't see any need to go further than that with them. Let's see. Harpies. That's one that's a little tricky to come up with a second variant for. You might be able to get away with calling them cockatrices, but I don't know about that. Because cockatrices, they're definitely more rooster-oriented than human-hybrid-oriented. But I don't think it would be that much of a stretch. We got the Spell Star! And some Poem Scale, too. Let's see. The idea with the Lizardmen wearing Poem Scale is that they used to trade with the people of Poem. At least I'm pretty sure that's a factoid you can find somewhere around here. But, like, the things I put on the Lizardman drop chart, at least the rare items, are all, like, related to their entire distrust of humans and other races. Oh, cutscene time. See anything? Not yet. There's no sign of Shamsuk or the tower. Even the minions seem to be hiding. Can he be further away than we thought? The bog isn't all that big. That is such an understatement, my dude. There's no other place Shamsuk would dare to build something like this. What if we went back to the town and asked around a little? Shamsuk would know we were after him before the sun went down. No, I'm afraid we'll have to find this on our own. We could split up. In this place, how would we ever find each other again?
The swamp's not that big, there's no need to abandon it. Besides, there's too much of a risk that one of us would encounter the wizard alone. You want to call it off? Or no, he's asking me if I want to call it off. You want to call it off? Do you? I'm going forward with you or with you. With you or with you? Do you mean with you or without you? So is it without you? Why say that? Home wasn't your city. You're not cursed. I don't think Shamsuk's ever done anything to you. Well, I've been thinking about what you said, about increasing my powers. Oh, I see. Who knows what kind of charms and spell scrolls we might find in Necromancer's Tower. We may not find any of that. Oh, we definitely will. We're on our way to destroy the thing, not to have a leisurely look around. We'll do both. Come on, Neeson, we've walked a long way for this. Why turn back now? There's no way we're backing down. Let's head on over to the confluence of the rivers. And then there's this weird spot where, like, there's just 4 tears meeting. I'm almost certain these rips are not present in the N64 version. It's just an emulator error. But for that reason, you can kind of follow these little lines to get around the swamp. Aha! I knew there was a Gorgon around here somewhere. Get over here, you! Gorgons are a lot less scary in this part of the game where they're supposed to be most relevant. Because, like, they appear as that mini-boss after Tailowalk, or in the middle of the Tailowalk incident with the freaking Dryads. So they had to be, like, kind of slow not to overwhelm your party there. But then you get to the swamp and then they're just too slow for your late-game party. It's like, whatever. So yeah, they could definitely use an upgrade. I would be down for Nagas. Oh, and the ones in the swamp are often paired with stone golems. I kind of just ignored the existence of that guy. I did change stone golems a little bit. They're still basic move and hit enemies, but their weapon has a new effect now. They used to share the same weapon as the Earth Elemental, which makes sense. But what I gave them is called Stone Slam. And basically what it does is, when they hit you, it inflicts stellar gravity upon you, so that you can't really move around as much. The basic idea is they kind of bury you with their fists, which is amusing to me. Like, you'll get in close to one and it'll clobber you, and then when you kill it, you'll notice that your movement is still restricted and you can't get away. They also have a unique piece of armor that makes them more durable than they were. And I think I screwed up their physical resistances as well, maybe. They qualify as hard enemies, so, like scorpions, they take more damage from bashing weapons and less from cutting weapons. But, once again, all of my current weapons are enchanted, so I can't exploit any of those resistances or weaknesses. But anyway,